Hello, it's Leslie here. Today I'm going to look at this SRAM GXP bottom bracket. I bought mine with the crankset, so it just came packed with the crankset in rather minimal plastic bags, or if you buy it separately I couldn't tell you what sort of packaging you're going to get. So I kind of like the design of it. What I mean by that is the shape of the cups, the external cups. It comes in a couple of colors, this silver version, and I also have this black version. So before I forget, I'll say this. I wanted to buy one of these for my Pinarello, which has an Italian threaded bottom bracket. So it doesn't really make this clear on the SRAM website. That if you buy the Italian one, it won't look like this. It won't be this style with the thread, with the angled chamfered look to it. It will be the older style that you will get. So that's one of the things I don't like about SRAM at the moment. They're a bit slow in updating their website pictures and things. So I just want you to know, if you buy, I don't recommend you to buy the Italian threaded version, because it's not the same. It's not the most recent one. So they've updated the English one, but not the Italian one. So what I like about it is that it's got this nice chamfering to it. The edges are sort of chamfered, which makes it look nicer, and it's got this sort of sandblasted look to it, which makes it look a bit nicer quality. I'm not sure if it's even worth mentioning, but I see that the sandblasting, they haven't protected the threads, and the sandblasting has you can see that they've actually sandblasted the threads a bit. Funnily enough, that hasn't happened on this other black version that I have here. The threads are actually still very nice. Another difference, which you might think is insignificant, but I'm going to mention it anyway, is that on this version, the silver one, you get this ordinary looking grease, a little bit, I don't know if it's green or not, but anyway, that's what it is. Now on the black version, you get this nicer white grease, so that's a bit odd. Also, now the thing is, I'm not the best person to talk about this because I'm not an engineer or anything, but the GXP system was to try and get around Shimano's patent, which uses a 24mm axle. So what they've done is they have used like a 24mm axle on the drive side bearing, and they've reduced it to 22mm, I think, on the non-drive side bearing. And if you read online, some places say that it leads to premature bearing wear because there's only one side that's floating and the other side takes all the side preload or something. I don't know too much about it, but I'm only really talking about the manufacturing quality, like the machining and everything like that. So one thing I found rather strange is that the 22mm side, I've taken off the little cap here, which just tends to fall off anyway. This side appears to use a 22mm inner diameter bearing, and the other side, which is the larger side, uses I better show you on this one. The larger side uses a plastic sleeve, which you can see on the inside. You would think that it would be the 22mm side that would have the sleeve to reduce it from, like, say 24 to 22 millimeters, and the other side would have no sleeve. But the funny thing is that the 24, what I'm saying is that the bearing on the drive side, is it? The drive side is even larger than it needs to be, and then they reduce that, put a reducer in, and then on the non-drive side they have no reducer or adapter, so it's a little bit odd. So anyway, that is all I'm going to really mention about it. I have used them on my, I have had GXP brackets, bottom brackets, on some of my rental bikes when I was renting bikes in Tenerife, and they lasted okay. You know, if there's one bottom bracket that didn't last for me, it was the Campagnolo Ultra Torque bottom bracket. I liked the look of those cranks, but the bottom brackets weren't sealed from the weather. They didn't have a shell on them, and if you spray your bike with those, they watch out, because the bearings don't last on those. But I found that the GXP bottom brackets on the few that I had lasted okay. The other thing I will say is, I wanted to mention what I like about it. Apart from there's three things I like about it. I like the angled appearance of it. The angled chamfered look looks a bit nicer than something like that. And it's got this sandblasted feature, which makes it look nice. And if you look up closely at the individual sort of cutouts, they have gone to the trouble of, they start on the chamfered section and they have gone to the trouble of making them rounded, so they look a bit nicer. If you look at a normal Shimano or FSA bottom bracket, this is what it looks like. They've just cheapened out a bit, and the little chamfers cut in, but on the SRAM they've gone to that little bit of extra detail and it makes it look a bit nicer. So there you go, that's my review of that. You know, a lot of my reviews will not be testing products. I'll just be talking about the manufacturing quality, I think, in future on a lot of products. That's all I have time for today. Thanks for watching.